Okay, it's Wednesday, November 18th, and here's another G Sessions. What is your G status? So, immigrants are us. My name is Lorna Harris, by the way, and I've been doing these sessions for quite a bit. However, this is the last time that you're going to see me.
It's so crazy, Lorna.
Mahen, I need you to. So, our guest is having a little technical problems as we go on. So, if we hear her, we'll just go with the flow. So, what I want to do, everybody, is welcome you to another
Um,
G Sessions. Mahen,
Lorna, I
ready?
can't hear you.
We're having some technical
I
issues
can't
with
hear
our
you. You
guest,
look great, by the way.
and she
You
can see
probably
you.
let's see if Dara can help me.
So, Mahen, I need you to
Luca?
relax.
Yes. Okay, I'm having a problem here, but
Mahen,
I'm
Mahen,
trying
Mahen,
to.
you're not having a problem.
Yeah. Did you
Anyway,
speak to Marima?
No, because she's away.
so everyone that's out on Facebook and has been watching us for the past minute and 12 seconds, I want to welcome you again to What is Your G Status? And my name is Lorna Harris, and I'm your host for this G Sessions, which is a one-on-one, very short 20-minute conversation about what is your G status. So, as the executive producer of Immigrants Are Us, the Generation Project, it's the mission of the project is to know that the more we see
So
ourselves in
unmute.
each other and ourselves in each other, we will recognize that we are all immigrants. And especially in these days and times that we're living in, that word immigrant is heard over and over again. We have a vice president elect who is an immigrant, a first generation, and that's what we're really going to talk about. So, how it works is whatever generation you are. So, if your parents were born not in the United States, but elsewhere, they are G zeros. If you were born in the United States, you are a first generation, and your children will be G2s and G3s and so on. And I want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we've had in the beginning. But as you all know, in this virtual reality that we're existing in, these things happened. So I'm very, very, very excited to invite our guest today, Mahen Bonetti. Mahen is the founder of the African Film Festival. She's done some other things prior to starting the African Film Festival, but what's most important is what she's doing right now, and she'll explain that to us, and we'll get an opportunity to talk to Mahan about who she is, but especially about what is your G status. So Mahan, welcome. How are
Can
you
you hear
doing?
me?
We
Can
can hear you okay. Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
We got that squared away. I
We
am
did.
fine. I'm fine. I take each day that one step at a time. I'm just very grateful when I can put my feet on the ground in the morning and my head on a pillow at night. And that's
Great.
all we can ask for these days.
So,
Hmm.
Mahan, I've known you personally for some time, but our Facebook audience and others out there in virtual reality
Hmm.
don't or may know you. But I really would like you to share. Do you know what your G status is? And do you have any questions about that?
If I have it figured out correctly, I think I'm zero because I came here as a teenager. Does that
Uh-huh. Yes,
So I'm zero, right?
you are a G0.
And
And
my
you have
daughter is
children.
yes, my daughter is G1 then.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly how it works. So
Hmm.
we got that squared away, as you said. So now that we know what your G status is,
Hmm.
why did you come here as a teenager to the United States?
Well, we I was born independence in Sierra Leone, and of course that was I was a young girl when the transition from colonial rule to independence was taking place. And so I saw it in real time. And I was very fortunate to have parents who actually thought we have to involve the kids in this history making. And so my dad took us out of school. We traveled with them. I even saw took us up to the provinces where my dad was explaining. I mean, I saw him in action explaining to paramount chiefs what that transition meant from colonial rule to independence, because that their jurisdiction is where you had most of the minerals. So it was really, and when the Queen came to give us independence, we're there, Deepwater Key. So it's etched in my memory, and I'm very fortunate that I saw that moment of African history taking place in real time. That being said, all those countries that gained independence from the late 50s to the late 60s, I mean, it was just this sort of, short period where we were masters of our own universe. And the late 60s up to the mid 80s saw these countries, it was a domino effect, one after the other, either had a coup d'etat, had a, civil warfare. And basically we were one of those countries. And the Cold War set in. And for the last 40 years, that got played out on our continent. So our dream has been deferred for so long. So
wow.
that was the reason why my family, came to the United States. And why we chose okay, I'll stop. You can go ahead.
No, go ahead. Why did you choose the United States? And before you answer that question, your parents were in a position because from what I understand from our previous conversations, that your parents had some type of relationship with the United States.
Yes.
So is that going to be part of your answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the thing is, generally when these coups happen, as I've always said, you would seek refuge in the country that colonized you usually, because they're the ones who took you in. And sometimes they were responsible for your situation, And so it was a sort of, double-edged sword. But my father, let's start with my grandfather, my dad's side. They were educators. And my grandfather came here in 1893
Wow.
on a scholarship through the AME Church.
Okay.
Had a big presence in West Africa. And so my grandfather got the scholarship, and he went to a Quaker college in Pennsylvania called Lebanon Valley College. And then
what year was this?
This is 1893. I know, for me, this is what interests me, not so much my grandfather, but that intersection where he met his diaspora. What happened? I really I'm searching for those answers.
Okay.
So this is 1893. He went to Lebanon Valley College, University of Pennsylvania. Then he went home, and but he lived in New York for a while. And I'm piecing together the history. So anyway, my father in 1930, in the mid-30s, also followed the footsteps of his dad and got that scholarship through the AME Church. He went to Hampton Institute. Then he went to Lebanon Valley for a short time, because that's where his dad, his father's alma mater. Then he went to Columbia Teachers College. Then he went to England. So this was our relationship with America. So for my dad, this is, I feel that generation of men, when I think of when all these sort of movements of negritude, Presence Africans, when they were all born, I think it's what that intersection of Africa meeting her diaspora, that's when they become woke. You think of Nkrumah, because my dad came with that group of Ezekiel Nkrumah. They went to the historic Black colleges, they got the scholarships to attend those schools. And
I didn't know this at all. This is brand new information for me.
Yeah, think about it. When they go back, that intersection where they meet their diaspora, like Senghor and Aimé Césaire meeting during that period also in France, and thinking, how do we connect Africa and her diaspora? And they went on to produce the first World Festival of Negro Arts, because it's through culture, that's our common chord,
Yes.
And so for my dad, I'm sorry, I'm digressing.
It's okay.
So when the coup happened in Sierra Leone, he felt it was better for us to come here And at the time, anyway, I had my older sisters and brothers and cousins who had all followed that trajectory of my grandfather, my father. They were all studying here. So and Hampton Institute, Harvard, Lake Forest, my sister went there. So anyway, this is how we ended up here, because my father felt there was he felt that, yes, our cause is very much aligned with those of our cousins in the diaspora of the Latin America, Caribbean, and United States. And they have fought for her freedom. They have also had the strongest tie with us. So if anything, let me bring my family here. And as I said, I already had sisters and brothers studying here.
So, Mahen, I have another question, and not to break your flow of thinking.
No, it's okay.
But I'm hearing how historical Black colleges played an important role. And not just the historical Black colleges, but education was the ways and the means.
Yes. And the church, the AMC
and
church.
I could not leave out the AMC church.
That is the first, I think the first lynching in this country happened there. They were the first, they were our foothold, Yes. It's very important in our lives and in the connections of the diaspora. And actually over the years, we've showed some films. There's a brilliant one, and I wish I could, it was a woman from Dominican Republic of all places who did this film, where she connected the AMC's church's involvement in Latin America, in various regions of Africa, and how these, the mantle, it offered so many people, like my grandfather, my dad. And this is, we have such a rich history, Lorna. This is, for me, I didn't study film. I'm not an academic, but through this moving image, when I learned, discovered this body of work where we were telling our stories, whether it was good or bad, we were the sort of gatekeepers of this memory. I fell in love. It's like I was floating. I said, this is it. This is the hope. This is where I want to give a counter narrative to everything else, that sort of sound bites that they, the 6 o'clock news gives on produces on Africa, where I don't have a backstory. I want to share that with my, with us first and foremost, to give us that power.
So this is why you started the African Film Festival.
Absolutely.
And the African Film Festival you started it, and your mission is, what is your mission?
My mission is to empower, people of color and just people in general, to provide, as I said, a counter narrative to the sound bites that we generally hear or see about we as a people, to give a platform to our artists. This is a colloquial description. Of course, there's more. I could give you the,
Right.
And also to my mission is to, through the moving image, which has for so long been the way people, the rest of the world decided who we are, or what we did, and these were images we did not control. So images are very powerful.
Yes,
they really are. You can weave an entire book, you can write an entire book just based on an image. So for me, it was really important. It's a quick study, like Semben said. It's like night school. We have so much catching up to do. We come from an oral tradition, so maybe a lot wasn't written down, even though I'm discovering a lot was written down. It's just,
really?
Oh yes, you'd be surprised. But so this is a quick way for a catch up, where we can connect with each other. Yes, exactly.
So also, as an African American, I've often shared in these sessions that I'm a G7.
Okay.
Family brought here through slavery.
Yes.
Um,
G7, but that's not so long, huh?
no, 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 no. But what I'm hearing through the backdrop of your family, through immigration and their experiences, they were here during the 1800s before slavery really was traditionally abolished.
Absolutely. Yes.
They were here during the
The
Depression.
30s.
So
Yes.
all of those things that were going on in the backdrop of the United States, as being someone from another country and still being able to flourish, is amazing. It's amazing.
That's what I'm saying, Lorna. My curiosity right now is to that intersection where I start with my grandfather. What did he see? Who did he meet? And I don't want to say this publicly, but someone has all that information in their hands, an academic. But I can't. This is where I'm trying so hard that, this victimization we always feel. I want to not feel that. I rather want to find a way where I can share that information or even get it in my hands. But an academic has all my grandfather's information in their hands. My father wrote a book on colonial education that is used at Columbia Teachers College. I don't know who has those rights, So, but I can't blame. I have it's up to us to change. When I speak of counter narratives,
Yes. So in showing these films, what's been so interesting to me and powerful is that I've learned about directors, filmmakers that have told stories that are very similar to what other immigrants are going through. People traveling from Africa on a boat, on a plane, whatever way they got there, they got there. And these stories are so powerful, and these films are so powerful. And if it weren't an African Film Festival, we wouldn't even be able to see them or know who these famous African playwrights and screenwriters are. So I commend you for that.
And you're a G7, so where could you give me a little of your background story? I'm curious.
Well, my background story is, just because you're curious, but my background story is that my family, again, came as slaves. And they fought in the Civil War, but we had our own community. We purchased property, and it was a community called Ross Hill in Mississippi.
All right.
There were a lot of us, but we had our own school, we had our own church, we had our own business. And when the Great War came about in 1918, our family businesses were threatened. And a lot of us had to sneak out of town from Mississippi, Chickasaw County, and made our way north because they were threatening to take our property away and other things. But it was a very industrial time, the First War. And so many people of color made their way to major cities in the South and the West. And that's my family's history, really. And I came to New York, not even knowing I was a G7, not knowing anything about it. And this project has been so powerful, Mahen, because it lets me know that we're all immigrants. Every single one of us have come from someplace else. And that's why I really want to thank you for being a guest on this show.
Oh, I'm so happy
and having this conversation. And we didn't talk so much about the African Film Festival, so people can go and check out your website. And I know you have an anniversary coming up, but I really would like you to share a bit more. We have asked all of our guests to talk about or bring something that's very, very special to them as far as their G status concerned or who they are. So did you bring something along, or do you want to talk about something?
Well, I mean, I've spoken a lot about my dad, and he's from that side of my family, but my mom's people are of the Mandane group. And those are the groups that came from that Sudan or Egypt through Mali, who were, fighting slave traders. Listen, Africa is always under siege.
Always.
For some reason, really, I look at what's happening now. Anyway, so the Mandane people, they were warriors. They fought, and then they came and settled along the coast from Guinea down to Ivory Coast. And so we're from the Mendi, the Madingo, the Loko people, And I'm sure in those other countries, I guess Karanko also. But anyway, so my mom's people settled in Sierra Leone, and they, as I said, they're warriors, so they dominated. And but they are known for gara batik, which is like a tie dye. You know, this, I have a batik version of it, and I have it down because I think I was going to wear it soon. So I would like to show it to you. So
yeah,
this is, but it's a modernized version of, you know, let me see if I could, you know, so we did a sort of 60s style, you know, long dress with the bell bottom sleeves, and this is it. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So your mother's people have worn this forever.
Well, the indigo dye.
Indigo dye.
Yes.
That's interesting.
But this is also interesting, Lorna, because before independence, this indigo dye, you had to use the British dyes, just like in India. You know, you couldn't with the cotton manufacturing. And so when independence happened, you know, we come from the area of the rainforest, and there's so many plants, the fauna, flora, and so these women, the creativity is mind blowing, and you know, and how the resourcefulness. I can't tell you. I'm always really just impressed, even here, and so they started creating their own dyes from plants, from, you know. And making different types of garas and batiks, and but the indigo is always my favorite somehow.
So I am happy, and so is everyone else. We're beyond happy. This has been an enriching conversation, and so many, as you said, intersections of the diaspora, and we can explore that further. But our time is up.
Well, next time. But I would like to let you know that we are going to please visit our website. Can I give you the address?
Please. What is it?
It's really a resource.
Yes. Okay.
Platform. And also we have a streaming platform. It's info@African with an N, info@AfricanFilmNY for New York.org. So it's info@AfricanFilmNY.org. And in early December, we're going to do our 27th edition. It's going to be a regional focus festival focusing on Sudan and Nigeria. And it's, I mean, I am beyond the moon, because this is what I'm learning so much about our Sudanese brothers and sisters. And it is, oh my goodness, that is our Egypt, you know.
Yes. Well, we're looking forward to that. Thank you for sharing that information with our audience
yeah, go ahead.
So thank you, Mahen, and thank you
very
everyone
much, Lorna. It
went so
quickly. Yeah,
it does. 20 minutes is really fast.
Yes.
So again, you can see these on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
You can go to the website www.gproject.org to see more of these conversations. We have other conversations coming up in next week and the weeks after throughout the end of the year. So thank you again. Welcome to another session of the G Sessions, and this concludes our conversation with Mahen Bonetti. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Laura. Be well. Stay safe. Stay calm.